The sun is shining in the sky, hardly a cloud in sight, and we are going to have a fantastic race here today.
Drivers, start your engine!
Cause we want retribution. Yeah, we want retribution.
But coming to the green here, it's getting cleaned out real well. Pace car's off, kick some ass.
There's the green flag and we're underway.
Green, 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 green. Outside, still there at your door. Good job, man. Nice and solid. Good case up.
Three wide.
Here, Hawkins into the wall.
Oh, big trouble!
Crash in the back. Oh, there's a crash in the back.
Trouble.
Great job, doing awesome, buddy.
And hello, race fans, and welcome to the site of race number 13 of the WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series. It is the Firekeepers Casino 400, and my goodness gracious, after tonight, it will be 10 races to go in the WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series season, and we practically are in the second half of the year. We had an amazing first part of the NOS Energy Cup Series season, and so far we have had 12 races, 12 different winners in the year 2026. We have yet to have a repeat winner, which is actually impressive, and that just goes to show how competitive that this field has been this year of 2026. For those that were not with us this past Saturday night, or at least 2 weeks ago at the beginning of June, we were at the Chicagoland Speedway, and it ultimately came down to Stephen Walker, Avery Alford, and Aaron Abel, who actually, as of late, has been on a tear as of recently, been climbing his way up through the point standings, managed to take advantage of some really very much so needed points this past month in May, and managed to cap it all off by starting off actually the post month of May with a win at the Chicagoland Speedway, his first NOS Energy Cup Series career win for his own team of Racing Motorsports. And in his sophomore season altogether too, because you remember last year was absolutely abysmal for Aaron Abel. Not so much for Skylar Taylor. They went on to finish third in the championship last year, but now things are looking a little bit different for Racing Motorsports. It's almost as if the tables have turned coming into our home of Michigan International Speedway, just like of how you got NASCAR with Charlotte Motor Speedway being its backyard. The WRLA has Michigan International Speedway as its backyard, and we're so proud to be home here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. The points definitely look a little bit different coming into this weekend, and after Chicagoland, Russell Blaze, who won at Talladega and took the points lead for the first time in his career, he is back on top, but not by much, just 2 points over new second place Andrew Miller. Tanner Parton falls to third with 287 points. So you see Monaco still sitting in fourth. Alfred and Abel and also Stephen Walker, they're fifth, sixth, and seventh after Chicagoland a couple weeks ago. And then you saw Emily Anderson, Quentin Moore, Noah Clifton still hanging on inside of the top 10. Zachary Fitzwater falling out of the top 10. And then you have Terry Walker, CG Holt. Bobby McGuire had a great run at Chicagoland. That propelled him up to 14th in the standings. But lots of drivers that needed some great runs as of recently, they got them at Chicagoland, and Bobby McGuire was for sure one of them. Even Avery Alford managing, Avery Alford still got a good run regardless. But you take a look at other drivers that are starting up towards the front of the field that are going to be in need of some great points. Wyatt Walker is up here. I would also say Claire Phillips as well. She's starting mid-pack in this race. But then you go on down here towards the bottom of the points bracket right here. And I do believe there is a little bit of a mess up there. In the 32nd position in the points standings, Kyle Craven, that is a little bit of a mess up. I do apologize for that. In 32nd in points, that is actually Janiah Hill. So that is a mess up. So it would be Nathan Stapleton in the 31st position, and then Janiah Hill 32nd, and then 33rd would be Abby Walker, 34th Travis Crampton, 35th Zachary Taylor, and then Roberto Crown Jr. would round out the field in 36. So that was a little bit of an error when it comes to the point standings, but if you are in the WRLA Discord, you would already know exactly where everyone is at in the point standings coming into tonight's race. And as far as the qualifying is concerned, this definitely was a pretty interesting round of qualifying, and again, a lot of drivers that competed in last night's race, such as Jordan Sumner, for instance. She got herself a really great starting spot here for tonight. And other drivers that competed in trucks last Thursday, man, they're looking to try to put that behind them and race in this event with nothing to lose. And speaking of that, we have a duo of drivers from the truck series that are leading the field of the green flag tonight. Bruno Diacomo and Michael Davis. They're on the front row with Ramsey and Crown, last year's winner, starting in 4th. Then Jordan Sumner, Terry Walker in row number 3. Our former points leader, Tanner Parton, and Wyatt Walker in row number 5, and then, or row 4 rather. Then in row 5 is Quentin Moore and Sebastian Vaughn. A great qualifying run for him. Alexander Vitale starting in 11th, and then you have the McGuire Motorsports cars, Janiah Hill starting in 12th, Bobby McGuire 14th, and our points leader, Russell Blaze, starting in the 18th position, and our winner from 2 weeks ago, Aaron Abel, starting in 20th. That's our Chicagoland winner. Moving on over to the next page, Eric Blaze starting in 21st. Didn't fare all that well in last night's Xfinity Series race, but looking to try to turn that around. It's kind of interesting of how when there's no pressure on Eric Blaze when in the Cup races, he kind of just tends to go out there and run as good as he normally would on any given weekend when it comes to the Xfinity Series. But here in Cup, it's kind of effortless, if you will. Haley Kurz making her first start in a little while. She's starting in the 31st position. And then you look at the NS Racing cars. You saw Noah Clifton starting in 30th. Andrew Miller, Zachary Fitzwater starting in the 18th row. And then Nathan Stapleton, you just noticed him. He's starting 39th in this race. So definitely not the qualifying results that NS Racing was looking for whatsoever. But ladies and gentlemen, we are here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. It is going to be a very fun night of racing here at this 2-mile facility. And it's going to be interesting to see what lines these drivers will take. It's time to go racing here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. The drivers are strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up. But in order to get these 42 behemoths rolling on the racetrack, we got to get the command to fire the engines. So let's go trackside and get just that.
I can't hear you! Drivers! Start your engines!
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Engines are fired. Pace car is rolling off, and so are these 42 contenders. And this is going to be a very interesting night here tonight because last year's winner, Roberto Crown Jr., he is starting in the 4th position here for this event. Managed to win this race over Jerry Rose. Managed to get around him or stay out ahead of him with about 2 laps to go as they were coming to the caution flag. And that's how Crown managed to get his first career win. Probably is not going to be as easy as it was last year, but you never quite know when it comes to these types of races. It could come down to fuel mileage. There could be a late race restart like we've seen in trucks last Thursday and even last night in the Xfinity Series race. Anything can happen. 100 laps around the 2-mile facility of the Michigan International Speedway, a duo of part-time drivers, primarily from the truck series, Bruno Diacomo in the 90 for Appalachia Motorsports, and the number 30 of Michael Davis out of Davis Family Racing, are going to lead the field off of turn number 4. Pace car is off. WRLA comes home to the Michigan International Speedway, and Bruno Diacomo and Michael Davis are going to lead him to green to get things underway in the Irish Hills. Good clean start up at the front of the field. Bruno Diacomo breaks out ahead. They're already going to go 3 wide as they head through turns 3 and 4. Look at Andrew Ramsey slide up the racetrack, almost getting into the 90 of Diacomo, but he's going to edge ahead and will lead the first lap of the night. Getting a little bit of help from Crown from the middle lane, but now Crown's going to slide up just a little bit, and Tanner Parton in the 07. This is something that we're going to be seeing all night long. That bottom line will not be the preferred way to go. You'll want to stick your car right around the middle or even the top side in all of these corners, because that's where you're going to get the most grip. Wyatt Walker in the 19, wasting no time. He's going to try to get a nose to the outside of Roberto Crown Jr., and that Interstate Batteries Camry is going to be on through inside of the top 5. You not only have 1 Kyle Busch throwback, but 2 inside of the top 5. Terry Walker carrying the M&M's caramel colors that Kyle Busch drove to just about every win in 2017. And now he's going after Michael Davis for 4th and going to stick that car down to the bottom side while Ramsey guns for the lead around the outside of Diacomo as they come through turn number 4. Look at Tanner Parton in that 07 as he goes around the outside of Alex Sanvitali and Jordan Sumner, who actually had herself a fantastic run in last night's Xfinity race, was duking it out with Marion Judicia for the top position, and she managed to take home an 8th place finish in the process. So very great night last night for Jordan Sumner. But at the front of the field, Walker Wyatt in the 19 jumps up to 4th. Man, that car has been absolutely coming to life in the early stages of this race. He would definitely love to get his season turned around with a win here tonight and nab his 2nd win of the year. He won earlier this year back in March at the Auto Club Speedway just about 3 months ago. I would definitely love to add win number 2 on the calendar for 2026. Starting to see these drivers get a little bit more spread out as Ramsey and Diacomo still fight it out for the top position. And Michael Davis down there on the bottom side in the number 30 machine. Here comes Tanner Parton in the 07 to the inside of Walker with Bonsignor in tow. Now Bonsignor, he could have himself a very good day here today as he's up inside of the top 10, getting ready to knock on the door of the top 5. He might get it here. Davis in the number 30 absolutely just wiggles going through the corner. And here we go, 4 wide. Oh boy, that's close there, and there they go. Terry Walker around in front of the field, and this might be big. Craven gets collected. Sumner got involved in that one, obviously, and Janiah Hill and Quentin Moore. That is such a shame. But the good news is that was a 4-car incident, and that could have been a lot worse. Caution flag waves on lap number 7. It is Andrew Ramsey that brings him down, but that was actually kind of strange of what just happened there, because you saw a gap kind of form with amongst the top 10, and then you look further in the back, and then there was just so many cars that were just all bunched up together, almost 4 wide. And boy, when you saw that, you saw the 48 of Terry Walker and then several others kind of bobble a little bit and kind of just get together. You knew eventually it was not going to be all that great, and turns out that was the case for several drivers. But again, I mentioned the good news is that this was only just a 4-car incident and that nobody else got involved. So great heads up driving by all of our other contenders here. Kyle Craven might potentially be the 5th car involved. He did, I think he might have sustained a little bit of damage off of one of the other cars that were spinning heading into turn number 3. But my goodness gracious, there's Terry Walker in the 48. A little bit of right side damage on his Toyota Camry. There's Quentin Moore in the 04. Lots of damage to both sides of his Durrani Racing entry. And there's Janiah Hill, started 12th in this race, and man, unfortunately got caught up early. But the good news is I don't think I see a lot of damage on the 7, so could be just cosmetic damage for Hill, as we're going to see a lot of tire changes here, 4 tires. And take a look at this. We might have ourselves a brand new looking top 10 as Val Mosco wins the race off of pit road. Trinity Anderson comes out 2nd. Abby Walker comes out in the 3rd position. Then in 4th is Sam Vitale coming out 5th. I think it's going to be settled between Emily Anderson and as well as Alex Bonsignor, but I think Bonsignor came out 5th. Then in 6th will be Emily Anderson. Bruno Diacomo, who started on the pole in this race, he gets kicked back to 7th. Claire Phillips moving up into 8th. Ryan Davis 9th, and Travis Crampton rounds out your top 10. So some drivers that started at the front of the field, unfortunately, they faded back through this round of pit stops. Let's take a look at what happened that caused that first caution of the night from here at the Michigan International Speedway. The first car I did see go around was Terry Walker, and we're definitely going to take a look at this right here. This incident happened on lap number 6, and we're going to take a look from the aerial view heading down into turn number 1. Look at the 69 of Alex Sanvitali. He was up against the wall there for a moment, and this is what opened up the door for 4 wide. Now, it is possible to go 4 abreast here at the Michigan International Speedway. However, the problem is, as soon as you get to corner exit, a lot of these drivers kind of converge on top of one another, and then it can just cause mayhem from there. But watch this. I do believe, it looks like as Walker was coming up, Sam Vitale was starting to come down, got into Bobby McGuire here, and then at this point, as they head down the back straightaway, Sumner gets sent down into Terry Walker, and then they're just together at this point. They're tethered together. They go up the racetrack, and then it's on. Quentin Moore gets squeezed into the wall, and that's what sent Sumner and Terry Walker around. Janiah Hill, I think, just got turned off the nose of Russell Blaze. Gets a little bit of damage on the right rear quarter panel for the 29, but I think he should be okay. And right here on the bottom of your screen, Kyle Craven. Might have to check that left front fender on that car, but I think he should be okay regardless. CG Holt in the Skittles colors for this weekend. Snakes around on the inside line. But what a way to start the Firekeepers Casino 400 from here at the Michigan International Speedway. 4 wide. That could have worked, but unfortunately didn't. Sam Vitale gets down into McGuire. That sends him down into Sumner. Sumner goes down into Terry Walker, and it causes this mess, which thankfully was just a 4-car deal, and technically 5 if you want to count Kyle Craven, maybe 6 if you want to count Russell Blaze. But regardless of that, everybody's still running out on the racetrack, and nobody's out of the race as we are back to live action. There you see Terry Walker and Janiah Hill. They're rejoining the field. You also saw Skylar Taylor in the 41, who won at Las Vegas last year, as we alluded to. And this year at Minnesota Motorsports Park. Managed to hold off Abby Walker to get the win over at Minnesota. Right now, in the early stages of this race, you're going to find that number 41 looks to be all the way back in the 38th position as the field gets cycled around in the running order. But how about this, though? Val Mosco. This would be a very interesting weekend for him. He ran in last night's Xfinity Series race alongside Quentin Moore, and they both finished at the bottom of the running order, one lap down, and a little bit more embarrassing to say that they were the only two drivers that were one lap down. But things are definitely turning around for sure. As for Val Mosco, I cannot say the same for Quentin Moore as he rejoined the field in 42nd. But things are looking pretty good for Val Mosco in the early stages here at the Michigan International Speedway. For those that are just now tuning in, we're working our first caution of the night here in the Irish Hills of Michigan for our 13th race of the season. It was for a 4-car jam session with Terry Walker, Janiah Hill, Jordan Sumner, and the 04 of Quentin Moore. All 4 drivers are still in the race. They have they're at the tail end of the field. They got their damage assessed and they're back out at the tail end of the lead lap. Here we go. 1 to go, I believe, has been given, so we're getting ready to go back under the green flag. So that means your running order coming to 10 laps complete when we restart this thing is going to look like this. It will be Val Mosco, who is your race leader. Running in second will be the 4 of Trinity Anderson. Then in third will be Abby Walker and the Greg Biffle tribute scheme. In fourth is Alexandre Vitali. Rounding out your top 5 is Alex Bonsignor. Then in sixth is car number 6 of Emily Anderson. In seventh will be the 90 of Bruno Diacomo. In 8th will be Claire Phillips. 9th will be the 77 of Ryan Davis. And completing your top 10 is Travis Crampton in the number 61. Some drivers that were inside of the top 5 that definitely faded back after that round of green flag pit stops. There's 3 of them there. Andrew Ramsey, who led the field back to the caution to take the yellow flag on lap number 6. Roberto Crown Jr., who started 4th in this race, he's faded back to 12th. And then there's Wyatt Walker. He faded back to 13th after that round of yellow flag pit stops. But the field getting ready to work their way off of turn number 4 and head back to the restart zone to get this race back underway. It is Val Mosco who leads the charge. Let's see what this field is going to do with a single file restart. Here we go. And Val Mosco definitely gets a good jump. He's out of here. So far, no moves have been made yet. But I'd have to wait until you either get down the back straightaway or as late as going into turn number 3. We might see some drivers make some bonsai moves. Michael Davis mid-pack breaks out and tries to get to the inside of Sebastian Vaughn. And Jerry Rose trying to go for some position, heading into turn 3 now. And there goes Trinity Anderson to the inside of Val Mosco for the top spot as they come off of turn number 4. And new race leader, no, it will be, wait a minute, at the stripe, nope. I stand corrected for the second time. I was second guessing myself there, but it's Val Mosco still barely leading over Trinity Anderson. Now as Mosco slides up the track, has to back out of the gas. That's going to give the lead over to Trinity Anderson. But now here comes Abby Walker with a run to the inside. Walker still trying to search for her first win of the season. Could have got it at Chicagoland, but still got a pretty good or decent finish to say the least. But as of right now, they have jammed up 4 wide heading into turn number 1. Trinity Anderson's going to lead that lap. Meanwhile, older sister Emily Anderson in the Haas Automation colors is right there, but she's in the midst of 4 wide for that 3rd position. Now it settles down to double file between Moscow and San Vitale. How about Claire Phillips in the number 5? All 3 EGI cars inside of the top 10, coming to 13 laps complete. And look at this hornet's nest over here. Walker Wyatt in the middle of that mess, along with Bobby McGuire and even Ryan Davis, Aaron Abel on the inside. And they are all just jostling for position as up front Abby Walker goes for the lead on Trinity Anderson as they hit the back straightaway. Moscow taking a peek to the inside. He's going to try to send it in 3 wide. Not going to be able to make that stick, but Abby Walker slides up the hill, covers the spot on Trinity Anderson. And Moscow's not going to have any help there on the inside line, but he might get picked up there by Alex Sanvitali. As long as Diacomo doesn't have any plans up his sleeve, Crampton slides up the hill. Has to chase it up the racetrack before he can get that car back straight. And Abby Walker still leading the charge. Here goes Trinity Anderson to try to take the lead back. Coming off of turn number 4, and we're 4 wide down the front straightaway. Look at this. Diacomo to the inside. Not able to make that stick. Man, that is just absolute close quarters racing that we're seeing here in the NOS Energy Cup Series. San Vitale gets loose on the bottom side. And my, oh my. Absolutely wonderful to see that this 3M car is still leading the way here on lap number 16, coming to 16 laps complete. And we're seeing some fantastic racing here at the Michigan International Speedway. Still 4 wide here. Eric Blaze rocketing around the outside of Wyatt Walker. And Walker might pull even with that number 26 as they head the back straightaway. Look at Jerry Rose absolutely shooting the gap. And he manages to clear up in front of Sebastian Vaughn. And ladies and gentlemen, as we come to lap 18, Claire Phillips leads the way, but we will take a silent lap 18 to remember Kyle Busch, whom 1 month ago we lost. And I do apologize, of course, obviously for the lack of words there, but my brain is kind of a little slow. But regardless of that, although it has been 1 month since we've lost a legend in Kyle Busch, NASCAR and the world of racing has not been the same without him. And our continued thoughts and prayers are with the Busch family to continue to give them strength, especially through a tough time such as that. But focusing back in here on this event, Claire Phillips takes the lead right on back, retains it over over Abby Walker, who's now going to lose that second position to Alex Bonsignor, who's been on a clinic as of late. He has not won since 2017, and he would definitely love to end a 9-year winless streak here tonight. Ducks to the inside of the sophomore of Claire Phillips for the race lead as they head into the third corner. So far, it's a 2-car breakaway from the rest of the pack between Phillips and Bonsignor. But look at Abby Walker going to try to slide up in front of the Anderson sisters. She's going to block Trinity. But can she clear up in front of Emily in the number 6, right around the outside line? And Bonsignor further up at the front of the field. Looks like he's going to take that race lead. New leader, it is Alex Bonsignor in the 22 machine. Now, of course, you can see all 3 of the EGI cars scored inside of the top 5, but if you are wondering where all the rest of the Walker family motorsports cars are running as of right now, well, you can see one of them inside of the top 5. This 16 of Abby Walker's been putting on a show, trying to gun for the lead and also try to get inside or try to get back towards the front of the field. But she's running inside of the top 5, currently scored in the 3rd position. Also, you see at Wyatt Walker running in 18th, currently scored in the 18th position. And then following that, you have CG Halt currently running 35th and then 37th for the 48 of Terry Walker. Eric Blaze in that 26 on the move, currently up into the 7th position. And how about Jerry Rose in the 00? If there was no caution that flew last year, Jerry Rose could have given Roberto Crown Jr. a run for his money, and that is a win that has eluded him. Obviously, he won at Pocono to end off the season last year, but man, this win probably would have meant more than anything to him. For a lot of these drivers that are in this field, they are Michigan natives. Of course, Andrew Ramsey, Jerry Rose, they're from Michigan, along with Emily Trinity Anderson and Claire Phillips as well. You even have Bobby McGuire, Janiyah Hill. They were also from Michigan before they moved down to Florida. So this is one of their original home tracks there. Oh, Rogel Dorn there in that 86. Got a little bit loose as Noah Clifton peaked low on the 86 heading into turn number 3. This is the fight for the looks to be. That was 20 for 22nd. Looks like Clifton is going to have to go back to the drawing board and try it again on that inside line. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Andrew Ramsey has taken the race lead away from Claire Phillips, heading down the back straightaway and starting to pull away, heading into the 3rd corner. So Phillips in 2nd, Bonsignor slipping back, but scored in 3rd. He'll fall back to 5th, so that will give San Vitale 3rd, and then Rose in 4th. Eric Blaze getting passed by Trinity Anderson, who's going to get 2 birds with 1 stone as she goes to the outside of Bonsignor, not able to make it stick there. Is up front. Challenge for the lead is on. Here comes that number 5 of Claire Phillips down to the inside. At least going to try to make something happen going into turn number 3. But just not going to be able to make it stick there down on the bottom side. Rose, unfortunately, going to be in trouble as he's in the middle. He's going to have no friends down there on the bottom side. Now, another thing with Michigan is that the draft is absolutely key. If you're up here at the front and things are a little bit more spread out, it can be a little bit hard to kind of snag a draft unless if you are in the middle of this pack. But like, look back over here. This is where basically all the racing is just absolutely so congested. With everybody being double file and with everybody being as grouped up as they are and almost stacked up, especially going through the turns, it can be pretty difficult to at least try to stay off of one another, but it's also very easy to use the draft to your absolute advantage. So mid-pack, even though you're fighting for your life, you definitely got the draft pretty much all around you. And that's exactly what we're starting to see over here in the mid-pack. But you're also noticing that they're starting to spread out just a little bit more. But I would definitely expect that to intensify, at least the spreading, that is, as soon as green flag pit stops begin. I would expect them to be on pit road probably right around lap 35, if anything. Maybe earlier than lap 35. Ramsey continues to show the way. Phillips in 2nd. San Vitale 3rd. Eric Blaze up into the 4th position. And Jerry Rose rounds out your top 5. Now we know one thing to also kind of point out as well, and I've said it a couple times, especially dating back to Chicagoland. You know, the Walker Family Motorsports team has been absolutely outstanding over on the Cup side, or on the Xfinity Series side rather, but the Truck Series is where the Davis family team has been absolutely strong. And here in this Cup race, if you're wondering exactly where they are, if you are a Davis family racing fan, you can see Michael Davis right up here in the 6th position, getting ready to knock on the door of the top 5. He's just trying to fend off Alex Bonsignor for that challenge for the 6th position. And then you go a little bit further back in this pack over here, but hold that thought. Look at this, by the way. The top 10 have all gotten single file and have driven away from this pack of cars. And here we go. Pit stops getting ready to start. Abby Walker comes on in along with Haley Curris. Trinity Anderson was also in as well. I think that might just explain exactly why this pack got a little bit more broken apart, or at least looked a little bit more broken apart. But look at this. Everybody just stacked up because of, you know, some of the other drivers that slowed down in front of this pack to come on down into the pits. We're definitely going to start to see that intensify a little bit more. We'll update you on where the Davis family racing cars are at as soon as this cycle of pit stops are completed. Here comes a lot more cars onto pit road. Race leader is in with Andrew Ramsey. He surrenders the top spot to Eric Blaze, who leads here at Michigan. Vaughn moves up into 2nd, and then in 3rd will be Wyatt Walker. And now they're going to surrender their spots to come on down into the pits on lap number 32. So I was about 5 laps off from when I expected these drivers to pit. I predicted lap 35, but they came in at right around lap 30. So definitely miscalculation on my part. I'm trying to basically recreate what I did when I was calling a JBL Cup Series race with Alex Graham, former owner here in the WRLA. But also has the Wawa Cup Series to his name. Want to say hello to AG and want to wish him well. But that reminds me of when I actually made a prediction that all the drivers, since they pitted on lap 10, I believe, that they would pit again on lap 32 should the race go green. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. A green flag pit cycle began on lap 32, and a caution flag is out. Hold that thought. Caution on the speedway, and look at the field as they're absolutely jammed behind the pace car. Be careful, guys. Don't run into one another, especially when you got that pace car down on the apron. Very interesting as Terry Walker is shown as the leader and Ryan Little shown in 2nd. The caution flag waves, and look at these drivers. They're frantically trying to get by the pace car. And there's the culprit. Zachary Fitzwater in the 98. Right side damage to his Pennzoil Ford. Ah, that's such a shame there for Fitzy. 11th in the point standings coming in. And this is definitely not the thing that he wanted to have happen to him whatsoever. Started towards the back of the field, and fortunately his night is going to be cut short. And just as we got done with our first round of green flag pit stops, Ryan Little, what in the world, Ryan Little, what are you doing? Stopped just after the commitment line. And he's going to park it right at the entrance of pit road. Be careful. And thankfully, he teleported to pit road. I'm not sure exactly why Ryan Little just parked it at the entrance of pit road. That was very interesting. As I think. And that explains it. All these drivers are topping off on fuel. And it looks like Ramsey's going to win that race out of the pits. But Terry Walker in the 48, who was amongst the drivers a part of the first caution of the night, is your leader. Let's take a look at what happened to Zachary Fitzwater that warranted our second caution of the night. Fitzy has pulled that car back behind the wall. And let's actually take a look at the culprit. Actually, this starts well out ahead. And this is kind of what I expected to happen here. As you're going to take a look heading down the back straightaway, everybody that pitted with that first group, they were coming back out. And watch Tanner Parton here in this 07. That whole line on the inside line with Davis, Phillips, Dorn, and Emily Anderson, they are pretty slow as Parton is up to speed. He tries to go to the outside, but he committed rather late and loses control of the 07 as he rear-ended Emily Anderson and went right into the wall in turn number 3. And as he slides down the racing surface, there's where Zachary Fitzwater got involved as he slides up the turn 4 barrier or into the turn 4 wall and actually popped a wheelie as he collided with that turn 4 wall head on. And I think even Ryan Little, Little got stopped just in time to miss this number 98 as Fitzy was trying to grab a gear and get that car fired and rolling away from the accident scene. There's Little in the number 27. And thankfully, Ryan Little managed to get on the brakes just in time to miss Zachary Fitzwater. But my goodness, that is very unfortunate for third place in the points standings. Tries to get by Emily Anderson, commits to the outside late, and gets into the back of the 6. Goes into the outside wall, and there's where Zachary Fitzwater gets collected. Very hard hits for both drivers of Parton and as well as Fitzy into the outside wall. I think the 07 of Parton should be able to continue on. Emily Anderson more than likely got that damage assessed, but as for Zachary Fitzwater, as we documented, he unfortunately is going to smell what the rock was cooking, and he will fall out of the race on lap 34. Oh, actually, I stand corrected. Our defending winner of this race, Roberto Crown Jr., is out of it, along with Tanner Parton. Third in the points is out, and dead last in points, unfortunately, will finish dead last here tonight. So, unfortunately, Roberto Crown Jr. is not going to be able to get the job done and win back-to-back here at the Michigan International Speedway. But to give you an update on continuing with the update exactly as to now where all the Davis Family Racing cars are at, if you are a fan of Davis Family Racing, Michael Davis, currently, he, after that round of pit stops with drivers coming in and topping off on their fuel, he is 20th. Ryan Davis is 33rd, and there's Mercedes Davis in the 13, currently 37th as of right now. And NS Racing has also been a stable in the NR community, and even right here in the WRLA since 2017. And if you're wondering exactly where the rest of the NS Racing cars are running, if you are a fan of NS Racing, Nathan Stapleton in the 97, who has just had an absolutely abysmal season. There you see him right there. He started 39th in this race, and so far in the running of this one, he currently is running in 7th. Andrew Miller running in the 8th position in car number 96, and then Noah Clifton currently running in the 17th position. So not too bad there for NS Racing. Actually, very impressive to say the least for Nathan Stapleton himself, because it's been kind of tough to watch this 97 especially absolutely struggle throughout all of last year, all of last season, and even in this year. It has been 6 years since we've seen Nathan Stapleton go to victory lane. in the NOS Energy Cup Series. He won at Auto Club Speedway in 2020, back when the team was fielding Chevrolets. But things are looking pretty different here for the year 2026. They've been fielding Fords since last year. They started the WRLA back in 2017 fielding Fords, so it's actually kind of interesting of how things have kind of gone full circle for NS Racing, as they're back to fielding Fords again all this time later. And just to give you an update on exactly where all the Death Rider Racing cars are currently running as of right now, you see Eric Blaze right there running in the 14th position. And then you're also going to notice that some drivers are, unfortunately, that after that those pit stops where everybody was kind of coming in and splashing and topping off on their fuel, unfortunately, drivers like Kyle Craven and Steven Walker, they've kind of been relegated all the way back to the top 30. And there you see Russell Blaze right behind Jordan Sumner in the number 29 machine. You're going to find him in the 33rd position, while his other two cars are 29th and 30th. But big news out of both Walker Family Motorsports and Death Rider Racing. They are both going to be swapping drivers by the end of the 2026 season. Steven Walker will be going over to Walker Family Motorsports to drive for his cousin. The 24 will not follow. He'll be driving the number 20 when he goes over to Walker Family Motorsports. Sponsors will all follow him with FedEx and Sports Clips, and CG Halt will be going over to Death Rider Racing. Sponsors and number will follow, but actually kind of interesting that there's going to be a little bit of a trade, if you will, with the drivers. And it's kind of funny of how Walker Family Motorsports has kind of been the talk of the town when it comes to with everybody, especially with being probably one of the more popular teams, you know, when in regards of having all the cool toys, if you will. For example, Bobby McGuire, great run for him tonight, by the way, running in the 5th position. But Bobby McGuire, when he came into WRLA, he was running the 3-car on a part-time basis alongside Janiah Hill. This is when McGuire Motorsports was part-time last year. They were looking for a full-time effort for this season. And one of the numbers that Bobby really wanted to acquire from Walker Family Motorsports was the 18. And that was the number that initially Abby Walker was running. But both Walker and McGuire reached an agreement. So now Bobby's driving his favorite number, 18, and Abby Walker is driving the 16 for the season. Race leader is Terry Walker in the number 48. Remember, he pitted very, very late in the going of our green flag pit stops. And then now it's Sebastian Vaughn in 2nd, Zachary Taylor 3rd, Ramsey 4th, and McGuire your top 5. Here we go. Pace car is off. There is, again, I'm pretty sure there's damage to the 48, so let's see how this restart goes. Green flag back in the air. And I'm pretty sure that remaining damage off of Terry Walker's car, I'm not sure if it's going to slow him down or if it's really going to prove to be any sort of hindrance as this race goes on, but so far he's holding on to that top position as they hit the back straightaway. Sebastian Vaughn right there. Zachary Taylor as well. He won this event back in 2023. And look at this. Aaron Abel is actually going to slow down. He's going to come on down to pit lane. So that will give this fight for the race lead over to Vaughn and Terry Walker. Vaughn's going to lead that over Terry Walker as they race back into turn number 1. And Vaughn is now going to officially clear the 48 of Terry Walker as they hit the back straightaway. And remember Ryan Little and that 27, he is a lap down, but he is up front, and he's obviously up front, and he still has just as much speed as our top contenders here for tonight. But he is looking to try to get back on the lead lap. Meanwhile, look over here, Nathan Stapleton almost forcing a 4-wide situation. underneath of McGuire and above his teammate of Andrew Miller, our Iowa winner. Currently in the 7th position, but he's now starting to fade back from the inside line. Oh, and don't look now. There's Wyatt Walker in the 19. Creeping his way back into the picture. Bobby McGuire did the inside as Wyatt's father, Terry, he's starting to pull away. Getting a little bit loose down on the inside line. But Walker, Terry in the 48, now starting to check out by at least 2/10 over second place, Sebastian Vaughn. And now they're coming up on Aaron Abel, who just came back out on the racetrack after getting some pit service done to his car. So they'll catch up to him in just a few laps time. Wyatt in the 19 now moves up into 3rd. Taylor's going to slide back to 4th. Nathan Stapleton in the 97. Having himself a really great day here today, running inside of the top 5, 42 laps complete. We're 8 laps away from the halfway mark this time by. Or at least next time by, we'll be 7 laps away from the halfway mark. But as you see up front of the field, at the front of the field, Terry Walker in the 48, that is, and also Sebastian Vaughn are duking it out for the race lead, but son Wyatt is going to take it downstairs, 3 wide for this race lead, taking it all the way down to the inside, almost to the white line, trying to put some distance between himself and the 54, so that way he does not have any sort of side draft off of Vaughn. But now he's got a little bit of help from Andrew Ramsey as they hit the back straightaway. Nathan Stapleton in that at 97, now moving up into 4th. How about this? A couple Indiana natives of Stapleton and as well as Zachary Taylor up here at the front of the field. And now Stapleton's trying to gun for that race lead down on the inside line, as they're all pretty much just jostled up and fighting hard for track position behind these guys. Vaughn takes that race lead back, and here we go. Almost 4 wide. But they settle it back down to 3 abreast momentarily as they hit the back straightaway into turn number 3. Vaughn loving what he sees in his rearview mirror as he's starting to pull away, but also getting a little bit closer to Aaron Abel, who's running all by himself. So definitely unfortunate to see that Aaron Abel goes from winning a Chicagoland to running in the 39th position at risk of going 2 laps down. Zachary Taylor trying to make that inside line work. He's got Wyatt Walker right behind him, but Walker in that 19 looking to try to sweep his way down to the inside to try to put that 85 in the middle of a 3 wide situation, but Walker had the lift there, so he's going to lose some momentum as they come off of turn number 4. Terry Walker in that 48 immediately going to go on the offense as he's down to the inside. Down into turn number 3, or turn 1 rather. Wrong end of the racetrack, but in the meantime, look at Vaughn. He's going to slide up the track, and that's going to give the advantage over to Terry Walker as they head down the back straightaway, but not so fast. Sebastian Vaughn trying to fight back around the outside. And Zachary Taylor, in the midst of all this, is on the inside trying to quietly snake his way around for the top spot, but he has to lift going through turns 3 and 4, and look at all that momentum, and then he just lost. So now Bobby McGuire, who now moves up into the 3rd position. And how about this in the middle of the pack? Almost 4 wide going into turn number 1. That's Sam Vitale on the inside. Noah Clifton way up high, with Bonsignor and also Andrew Ramsey in the middle line. And how about this? CG Holt in the 17. He was all the way back towards the back end of the field and closing in on the halfway point of this race. He is up inside of the top 10. All 4 of the Walker family motorsports cars doing absolutely phenomenal here as we're reaching the halfway point of the Firekeepers Casino 400 from here at the Michigan International Speedway. Vaughn trying to make that inside line work. Ryan Little has now managed to get back on the lead lap. Now that's step 1. Step 2, a caution's got to come out, and he's got to stay out ahead of the leader of Terry Walker. That might not happen, though. Wyatt, almost gets turned by Abby Walker coming off of turn number 4. Great heads up driving by Abby Walker to get on the brakes a little bit, or lift just a tad to stay off of Wyatt's car. CG Hall knows that he is not going to be returning to Walker Family Motorsports next year. He's going over to Death Rider Racing. We know that's going to be his new home for next year in 2027, but he is racing like he's going to have nothing left to lose. He was scored 5th. He's going to fall back to what looks like the 7th or 8th position. Actually, he fell back to 6th, so he only lost 1 spot, and that's actually not too bad there. But now he's under attack from Bobby McGuire in the 18, who's going to take it downstairs. And how about this? Walker Family Motorsports 1, 2, 3 as of right now, with the father of Terry Walker leading the charge. Ooh, Zachary Taylor. Very close to the back bumper of Abby Walker. Almost turning her down towards the infield grass off of turn number 4. But Zachary Taylor looking to try to get himself a great run here tonight. He needs it. He's second to last in the point standings and would definitely not only love to get a good run, but also a win. But here's another guy that would definitely love to add another win to his resume. That's Wyatt Walker. He just snagged that race lead away from his own dad. Going into turn number 3, new race leader. It's Wyatt Walker in the number 19. There's only been one other driver ever in the history of WRLA. Actually, I'd want to say 2 drivers. One. I was thinking back to 2017 with Emmanuel Hartnett, but he only got 2 wins in the 2017 season. He won at Michigan for his first win of the year and then followed it up with a win at Watkins Glen. But there's only one other driver that has gone to victory lane for a second time in a season. That was Daniel Voiles. He won at Talladega in 2020 and then followed it up with another win at Michigan in an absolutely thrilling just photo finish with Nathan Orman. And my, oh my, the emotions were rather high that day. Some good, some bad. And Wyatt Walker looking to try to repeat that same irony here tonight. To throw in another piece of that irony, both drivers, Voiles and also Walker, are both Oklahoma natives. So that's definitely adding on to a little bit of that irony there. So very interesting stat, to say the least. But Wyatt in the 19 leading the charge, with Zachary Taylor in tow on the inside, but here comes Abby Walker in the 16 on the outside. Remember, you got those 2 other cars of Little and Abel. They are not on the lead lap. So they're kind of just up here racing with the leaders. And if you're Abby Walker, if you're in the shoes of Abby Walker, you've got to be a little bit frustrated with the lap traffic, because they're kind of just up here not really doing much. They're not contributing to any sort of fight for the race lead. They're only contributing as to who's playing spoiler to the lead lap party. Not so much here, as Abby Walker's going to edge ahead of Wyatt going into turn number 3. And Walker has to lift a little bit. And I think pit stops are getting ready to get back underway again here on lap 56. And that's the case. Zachary Taylor in the 85 leads him on down to pit road, followed by Noah Clifton, Andrew Ramsey, Crampton, Diacomo, Stephen Walker, Taylor, and Hill. They are all in to start our second round of green flag pit stops on lap 57. with the second round of green flag pit stops, I would expect the pit strategies be a little bit more diverse, if you will. Look at this. Bobby McGuire's going to stay out along with Bonsignor, Stapleton, Terry Walker, and as well as Jerry Rose. And just making sure that everybody gets into pit road safely, and that is the case. The Blazes, father and son, are in along with Andrew Miller. Rogel Dorn comes on in, and Quentin Moore brings his battered number 04 machine onto pit road as McGuire leads here at Michigan. And he will have to surrender the lead to come on down to pit road. Terry Walker and Alex Bonsignor were making a little bit of contact there. Both drivers, especially Bonsignor, I think he was definitely in a hurry to get to the inside and try to get either in front of or behind that 48. But it does not matter. They managed to finally make it onto pit road safely. Nathan Stapleton leads the charge, taking Avery Alford and Jerry Rose with him. Rose in the 00, Alford in the 23, and not too far back, that's Haley Curris in the number 9, making her first start in a little while. And I believe this is her first, this has to be either her first Cup start at Michigan since 2023. I think she wound up making the season opening race 3 years ago here at the Irish Hills. She was driving a number 13 Call of Duty car at that time and almost won her first race at Rockingham. Managed to get that race taken away from her by Emmanuel Hartnett, whom at the time was the all-time most winningest driver in WRLA history. And for a little while, he and Emily Anderson were both tied with that moniker. But after Daytona earlier this year in February in the season opening truck race, Emmanuel Hartnett managed to take that pedestal right on back. And look at this mess over here with everybody just trying to get up to speed that were just coming out of the pit lane, and other drivers that were already up to speed just pulling up in front of the slower traffic. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, as we have officially concluded our second round of green flag pit stops, the race lead more than likely is going to cycle back to whoever crosses the start-finish line here amongst this battle between Abby Walker and Zachary Taylor. So, right here, your official order with 40 laps to go looks like this. Zachary Taylor leading the charge. Abby Walker now takes over the lead, so that will kick Zachary Taylor back to second. Then in third, currently scored in third, that would be Travis Crampton. Then in fourth will be the 67 of Andrew Ramsey. Rounding out your top 5, that is Noah Clifton. Sebastian Vaughn in 6th, Clara Phillips in 7th. Rogel Dorn looks like he's going to move up into the 8th position, so that will kick McGuire back to 9th. And CG Halt rounds out your top 10 as he ducks to the inside of Dorn and McGuire to make it 3 wide for that 8th position. But look at that momentum that he just lost. He had to lift hardcore going through turns 1 and 2, so he might lose that 10th position to Jordan Sumner in the 89 machine. Now, this is actually a great rebound for Jordan Sumner. She had herself, as we talked about a lot, all throughout qualifying earlier today and even at the top of the show here for this race. She put on an absolute clinic, an absolute show for the fans in last night's Xfinity Series race, duking it out with Marion Judicia. Judicia, I think, took home a 5th place finish, while Jordan Sumner took home 8th. And to see Sumner with a similar amount of speed to what she carried last night is absolutely remarkable. And Moonstar Enterprise, I mean, it especially shows in their Cup program as we take a look at Sebastian Vaughn riding in the 6th position. They have done an absolutely outstanding job during the offseason, just absolutely, reevaluating their Cup program, because they knew, especially with Sebastian Vaughn, they have just, Moonstar Enterprise is just not, they did not have a great season last year. I'm just going to put it plain and simple. They did not have a great season last year. Vaughn had some moments under the sun last year, Unfortunately, a lot of those results just didn't back up the performances of this 54, but here we are this year. It feels like we're watching a brand new Sebastian Vaughn behind the wheel of this race car, and I have to tell you that Vaughn has been doing an absolutely spectacular job throughout this year, and I cannot wait to see what the rest of this season has in store for Moonstar Enterprise. For all we know, tonight could be the night where Sebastian Vaughn gets his first NOS Energy Cup Series win. Now, I almost just jinxed him there as Rogel Dorn just kind of rubbed up on the door of the 54 machine. And it looks like Vaughn is going to lose a couple positions here. That would be for, I think this is going to kick him all the way back to 9th. But meanwhile, at the front of the field, Abby Walker and Zachary Taylor are still fighting it out for that top position. They're 3 wide back there for 3rd. Crampton on the bottom. Then running the middle was Andrew Ramsey. And then the top, that was the 99 of Noah Clifton. Now, as far as silly season for 2027, we know that NS Racing will be returning next year. But the owner, Nathan Stapleton, who is currently in this race running in the 20th position, got relegated that far back, unfortunately, with that round of green flag pit stops. You know, it's just... He still has yet to figure out exactly what his driver lineup is going to look like, whether or not if he's going to keep Noah Clifton back behind the wheel of the 99, if he's going to bring him back along with Andrew Miller and even Zachary Fitzwater, because we have heard that if this is correct, Zachary Fitzwater has been looking to retire after the Wawa Cup Series season. I'm not sure if that's going to carry over into any other NR organization. Ooh, a little bit of a close call there between Walker and Taylor as they're still duking it out for the top position. With 67 laps complete. But we'll definitely have to keep an eye on the news when it comes to NS Racing's future in terms of what their driver lineup is going to look like, who they're going to call up, if their driver lineup is going to stay the same. But we do know this for a fact. NS Racing is returning in 2027. Zachary Taylor looks like he's going to keep that race lead as Abby Walker had a little bit of an issue through 3 and 4, so she had to get out of the gas, and look at all that momentum that she just lost. She falls back to 3rd. Maybe he's going to lose that 4th position or lose that 3rd spot to Travis Crampton, which is exactly what's happening over here. But Crampton runs wide through the corner and kind of has a little bit of contact with Ryan Little. And don't look now, Claire Phillips in the 5 is up here as well. Still searching for her first NOS Energy Cup Series win here tonight. It could happen here at Michigan. But Andrew Ramsey up at the front of the field, looking to try to snag that race lead away. He peeked to the inside of Zachary Taylor going into turn number 1. Not going to be able to make anything happen down there, but heading down the back straightaway this time by. Taylor starts to pull away. And it looks like that's going to be by at least a 1/4 of a second. Walker to the inside of Andrew Ramsey coming off the corner. Take a look at the top 20 and take a look. Keep in mind of this points battle, because remember, Russell Blaze and Andrew Miller, they come into this race just 2 points apart from each other. Andrew Miller, as you see right there, running in the 13th position. Russell Blaze currently running in 32nd. And I'm wondering what happened there, because Wyatt Walker's back there as well in the 33rd position. So probably might have had some issues on pit road. And unfortunately, that number 19 relegated all the way back to 33rd. So definitely not something that that camp needed at all. There he is in this wad of cars over here that has Stephen Walker, Eric Blaze, Russell Blaze as well, Alex Bonsignor. So a lot of drivers that were actually performing pretty well within the first half. Unfortunately, within the second half, they have fallen all the way back outside of the top 30. field comes off of turn number 4. They kind of starting to get a little bit wide there going through the corners as Zachary Taylor and Abby Walker. This is a, oh, we meet again kind of moment here as Walker and Zachary Taylor continue to duke it out for that race lead. Walker makes it look easy as she takes that top position away from the 85 of Zachary Taylor. Noah Clifton jumps up to 3rd. Taking 4th, or taking it away from Andrew Ramsey, who slips back to 4th. 3 wide here. How about Skylar Taylor in the 41? Coming out of nowhere. We haven't talked a lot about Taylor this entire time, and there's Skylar inside of the top 10 for the first time here tonight, and might potentially have a shot at this race win. At the front of the field, though, coming to 26 laps of racing to go from here at the Michigan International Speedway. Taylor and Walker still fighting it out for that top position. There goes Andrew Ramsey down to the inside. Bobby McGuire now moving up to the high side as they come off of turn number 4. And Abby Walker just going to narrowly lead that lap over Zachary Taylor by just 1/100th of a second. They're still going to duke it out for 3rd between Clifton and Ramsey. Looks like Abby Walker has the lift. That's going to give that top position back over to Zachary Taylor, who is in search of his first win since 2023 right here at the Michigan International Speedway. My goodness gracious, don't go anywhere. For all we know, we could see an amazing fight to the finish. We could even see a fuel mileage race at the towards the end of this one. Some drivers may take a gamble, roll the dice. You never know exactly what could happen here within the final few laps, and especially in the late stages of any sort of race, especially here at MIS. Further in the back, behind our 2 leaders that are still duking it out for the top position, Clifton and Skylar Taylor, they're fighting it out for 3rd. Avery Alford in search of his 2nd consecutive top 5 of the season. He's up here, going to thread the needle between Ryan Little and Andrew Ramsey, and now he is up into 5th. Look at McGuire all the way down to the inside of Andrew Ramsey going into turn 1. Terry Walker in that 48 is back in the mix. Currently scored in the 9th spot. Abby Walker back up into the race lead. Zachary Taylor falling back. He's going to lose that 2nd position to Skylar Taylor. Avery Alford trying to make something happen on the inside, but look at that 85 just absolutely rebound going through turns 3 and 4. And that momentum that he had is going to carry him right back to the start-finish line, and he will retain that 2nd position. Man, absolutely just outstanding racing that we're seeing here at Michigan. And this is why I think I might petition myself. Even though I make the schedules, I probably might add Michigan a 2nd time. I might sneak it in somewhere. You never know. Because the racing here, it doesn't even matter what physics you run. As long as you get the percentage just right, you could see some very fantastic racing. And I think right here, this is probably going to be the money stop. Zachary Taylor, Andrew Ramsey, they're in along with Jordan Sumner. Our final round of green flag pit stops is just now getting started. Skylar Taylor got a little bit loose there as Ryan Little takes a peek to the inside. Abby Walker assumes the lead by a half a second over the 41 heading into turn number 3. Let's see who all is going to make the trip down into pit lane this time. Travis Crampton peels off. He comes on down to pit road. So some drivers, especially in the late stages of this race, they're going to try to stretch it out as much as they can. Others are going to try to pit as early as possible so that way they can try to guarantee themselves to be good to go the rest of the way. You saw Giacomo, Stephen Walker, Janiah Hill. They were all coming on. They were all in the pits now. So let's see who all will pit this time. Looks like Abby Walker is motioning to come on down into the pits. CG Hall, Terry Walker, they stay out. along with Aaron Abel, who is a lap down. Actually, I'd say 2 laps down, actually. And then Rogel, Dorn, Avery Alford, and Bobby McGuire. Everybody else that was a part of this group, they came into the pits. There's Mercedes Davis in the 13. Currently scored as of right now in the 7th position. And there's Stapleton in the 97 running in the 6th spot. Halt makes the trip on down to pit road. Bobby McGuire will join him, along with Sam Vitale, Bonsignor, Munsell, Wyatt Walker, Emily Anderson, Trinity Anderson, Ryan Davis, Eric Monaco. So this hands the lead back to Terry Walker. But this is going to be very interesting to see what the field, or at least the running order, will look like by the time we're done with this final round of green flag stops, because we know after this, so long as a caution flag doesn't come out, these drivers are going to be racing their absolute guts out. Walker is in along with Dorn, Alford, Stapleton, Davis, Rose, Silver, Curris, even Kyle Craven. They're all in. My, oh my, this is going to be very interesting. There goes Zachary Taylor, Ramsey, and as well as Abby Walker. You also got Travis Crampton in the 61 in the mix as well. And Skylar Taylor not too far back. So as far as I'm concerned, this right here, at least crossing the start-finish line now, may potentially be for the lead and for the win. Crampton scraping the outside wall going into 1. And there they go. They just passed Terry Walker. So this right here is for the win. Abby Walker, once again, taking it to Zachary Taylor in the 85. 17 laps to go. Man, this would be special to see this paint scheme go to victory lane at one of a few tracks that Greg Biffle himself had so much success at. Walker leads it. Zachary Taylor in 2nd. Ramsey scored 3rd. Travis Crampton in 4th. Then in 5th is Skylar Taylor. Then in 6th is C.G. Hall, Jordan Sumner in 7th, Bobby McGuire 8th, Claire Phillips 9th, and Terry Walker rounds out your top 10. Oh boy. That 61 of Crampton got a little bit loose there, so he's going to lose a lot of momentum from that inside line. That's going to allow Skylar Taylor to get on by for the 4th spot. Aaron Abel out of the pits after getting service done to his car. Abby Walker continuing to lead the charge here at MIS in search of her 2nd career NOS Energy Cup Series victory here tonight. But here comes Zachary Taylor in the 85, going to take it to the inside. Not going to have a good enough run there. He will have no choice but to watch the back bumper of the 16 of Abby Walker. 15 laps of racing to go. And there goes Taylor to the inside. Walker goes way wide through turn number 2. And now they're dead even down the back straightaway. Ramsey and Skylar Taylor, they're fighting it out for 3rd with Travis Crampton waiting in the wings in case if anything happens to either group fighting for position. Walker using that momentum on the outside, but also the 85 of Zachary Taylor taking it on the inside line. Just narrowly led that lap over the 16 of Abby Walker. And now this time Zachary Taylor clears the 16 of Abby Walker. Skylar Taylor in the 41 looking to try to make something happen on the inside line. Looking to try to replicate what Zachary Taylor did. Remember, there's no relation between Skylar and Zachary. But here we go, down on the inside line. There goes the 16 of Abby Walker, dead even going into turn number 1. Advantage, Walker. And Zachary Taylor goes way wide. He has the lift hardcore. New race leader. It's Abby Walker in the 16 once again. So it's all down to these 5 cars that are duking it out here for the race win. Skylar Taylor in the 41 now, throwing their name into the hat. Now remember, these two finished first and second at Minnesota Motorsports Park in February. Skylar Taylor was the one that went to victory lane earlier this year over Abby Walker. We could very well see a similar finish take place here tonight. Now Zachary Taylor once again on the offense to the inside for the second position as Skylar Taylor breaks away with the top position. 85 has the lift there. There goes Abby Walker once again down on the bottom for the top position. Not going to be able to make the momentum work the same way all the way down to the start finish line, but this time it's going to make it happen again going into turn number 1. And these drivers are fighting hard for every ounce of racetrack that they can get. Coming down to it as they head into turn number 3 and going through turn 4 this time by 10 fingers up in the air, 10 laps of racing to go in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Abby Walker leading the charge with 10 to go. Skylar Taylor peeking down to the inside as Abby Walker slides up the hill. That opens up the door for the 41 to get to the inside. Side by side for the race lead. For third is the 85 of Zachary Taylor. On the 61 of Travis Crampton. Andrew Ramsey in the 67 waiting in the wings if anything happens. Third through fifth all single file, and at the top of your screen, just slowly inching his way into the picture, is that number 17 of C.G. Holt. Although he's had a little bit of trouble trying to get by Ryan Little, he has chopped off 4/10 on the front 5 cars and could potentially enter himself into this chat right here amongst these 5 drivers that are arguing for that race lead. Holt finally gets by Ryan Little. So now all he's got to do is run down the leaders, which he has cut down another 3/10 on race leader Abby Walker. You know, all 3 Walker family motorsports cars inside of the top 10. Wyatt Walker, he's recovered a little bit, but currently in the 30th position. There's Russell Blaze in 29th, or 25th rather, our points leader. And there's Andrew Miller. He is 11th, so definitely a very high possibility that we will see Andrew Miller leave Michigan with the points lead. 7 to go. And Abby Walker is now starting to turn it up. She is pulling away from the Taylors that are fighting it out for second. Travis Crampton trying to throw his name into the hat, 3 wide. And that second group is now starting to catch up, but I don't think they're going to have enough time to make anything happen, especially when it comes to shaking up the potential fight for this race win. C.G. Holt, of course, has caught the front 5 now, so that turns into a 6-horse race for the win. Abby Walker definitely loving what she sees in her rear view mirror as the 41 and the 85 do another rundown of the Taylor and Taylor show for that runner-up position. They work their way into turns 3 and 4. Skylar Taylor breaks free, and they're going to get to the inside of the 16 of Abby Walker. 5 fingers in the air, 5 laps to go, and there goes the Logitech machine to the inside of Abby Walker to challenge for the race lead heading into 1. Oh, Walker goes wide. And that will allow Skylar Taylor to clear the 16 for the top position. But it is not over yet. Abby Walker yet again to the inside. Almost 3 wide there for third, and that is exactly going to be the case. 3 abreast for that third spot. Ramsey gets it across the stripe, but I don't know if he's going to keep it going into turn number 1. He might here. And he's going to slide up in front of the 61 and the 85. All 3 of them walk up the racetrack. McGuire, along with Claire Phillips and everybody else from that second group, they're slowly catching up, but I think they're definitely out of time, so they're going to go for whatever positions that they can pick up here. Coming to 3 laps of racing to go from here at the Michigan International Speedway. It has been absolutely amazing racing that we've been seeing here in WRLA's backyard, and we're getting ready to have ourselves a fantastic finish here at MIS. Skylar Taylor works their way down to the inside of Abby Walker. Shades of what happened back in February, as I alluded to, when both of these drivers finished 1-2, with Skylar Taylor getting the nod at Minnesota. Abby Walker in that 16, making sure that doesn't happen again. 2 fingers are up in the air. 2 laps of racing to go. Look at Travis Crampton, that 61, as he gets by for that 3rd position on the inside line. 2 to go here at MIS. Crampton could potentially play spoiler as to who wins this race. Oh, Walker goes really wide there as they come off of turn number 2. That's going to allow Skylar Taylor to clear the 16 for the race lead, but Crampton is there on the inside line. They come through turns 3 and 4. Look at the 61 of Travis Crampton trying to make a charge. And Abby Walker in that 16 almost made it 3 wide there, heading down the front straightaway. White flag in the wind, 1 lap to go here at MIS. Skylar Taylor leads it. Will they be leading coming back to the checkered flag? We're just going to have to find out. Walker to the inside for the top position, and they're going to be door to door, coming off of 2, down the back straightaway one last time. Oh, and this will be a side-by-side battle for the finish. You might want to get those cameras ready. Walker to the inside of Taylor, and Taylor has to clear up. I think that just sealed the deal. Abby Walker, carrying the Greg Biffle paint scheme, is going to go to victory lane here in Michigan. How about that? What a finish here at MIS. Abby Walker, finally, first win of the season for Abby Walker. And how fitting that she's driving the 3M colors for Greg Biffle at one of a few racetracks that Biffle has had so much success at, the Michigan International Speedway. How about that? What a race and what a drive by Abby Walker. And she rights the wrong that happened to her at Minnesota earlier this year in February. Skylar Taylor comes home in the 2nd position. Travis Crampton comes home 3rd. Andrew Ramsey finishing in the 4th position. And how about this? An all Toyota top 5. How about that? CG Holt rounds that little party out. Zachary Taylor comes home in the 6th position. Bobby McGuire in 7th. 8th, Claire Phillips. That'll be a great night for her. Avery Alford 9th, and Terry Walker. Great recovery for the 48 team. He rounds out your top 10. Take a look at positions 11th on down to 28 here. Everybody's on the lead lap until you get on down over here to 35th, or at least past 35th. Little, Davis, Moore, and Abel all finished 1 lap down or more. And good news is we only had 3 retirees here throughout this entire event. That, unfortunately, Zachary Fitzwater, Tanner Parton, both drivers doing really, really well in the point standings. Parton's definitely going to take another hit after tonight. And then Zachary Fitzwater, same can be said for him. And Roberto Crown Jr., such a shame that he wasn't able to be here at the end to contend and defend his win from last year here at MIS. But he's going to take another big hit in the point standings, unfortunately. But what a weekend here at the Michigan International Speedway. And how about that? Abby Walker finally gets her first win of the season, the second of her career. And my goodness gracious, I don't even know what to say, but the points are definitely going to be looking very, very incredibly different after tonight. Obviously, Andrew Miller more than likely will leave here with the points lead. Russell Blaze might get dropped down to second. But you will know exactly what your points are going to look like after this premiere concludes. So if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to keep an eye on the WRLA Discord for your points after this premiere concludes. And while you're at it, be sure to give us a like and hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all the WRLA content throughout the 2026 season. And if you're watching this live on Twitch, be sure to hit that follow button so that way you don't miss a future stream. We are nearing 600 followers over here on the Twitch platform, so it would definitely mean a lot if you hit that follow button so that way you don't miss a future stream. Otherwise, if you're watching on YouTube, the link is indeed down in the description. Holy cow, I don't know what else to say to that, but the Cup Series will be off for a little while, but the next time you will see these drivers, they're going to be out over by the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. We're taking a trip out there for the first time since 2023, and all that action will take place on the 11th of July, I believe. And that is the case. The 11th of July at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That definitely is going to be a fun one. At that, but these drivers are going to be off for about nearly a month before they get back out there, so these drivers are definitely going to need that well-deserved break after an amazing weekend here at MIS. One more time, congratulations to Abby Walker for winning here at Michigan. It'll be very interesting to see how the rest of the season will play out for Abby Walker, as well as a lot of these other contenders that finished up towards the front of the field. And after today, we now have 10 races to go here in the NOS Energy Cup Series. Have yourself a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you all at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Well, we'll see you outside of the States in Canada with the Truck Series over at Jukasa Speedway. Have yourself a great rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you on the next one. This WRLA telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without any authorized written consent of 11 Broadcasting. WRLA would like to thank all of our loyal fans for their continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.